Welcome back to another episode of the Move to Spain podcast. My name is John Tell from justlawsolicitors.com. And in this episode, we speak to English John, Costa Blanca expert, and we answer the question, John, don't we? What's better, the Costa Blanca or the Costa del Sol? So, hi, John.
Good morning. We're going to get right into it because, as you know, I am all things Costa Blanca, and I've just spent some time down on the Costa del Sol, which I really did enjoy, by the way. I really
Yeah,
did enjoy it.
thanks for coming to the office.
You're welcome.
Marisa,
Thanks for having me
Marisa
there.
says hi. Yeah, so for the geographically challenged on the Move to Spain podcast, and by the way, you can see us on video in the flesh now as well, so you can have audio or video. So for the geographically challenged, the Costa Blanca is on the right-hand side of Spain, the east. I'm doing the hand actions for people listening, and the Costa del Sol is at the bottom of Spain, between Malaga and sort of Marbella, isn't it? Yeah,
That's right. Yeah.
right. So now you have a business, but it's on the Costa Blanca, isn't it?
Yes. So for people that are thinking about moving to the Costa Blanca, which is arguably one of the most popular costas, they may not know where they want to live. And obviously,
Right.
the research style, the phase of doing research can be expensive. So generally speaking, they'd need to come here an awful lot of times to figure out where they want to live. And it's a big place. We've got roughly 204 kilometers of golden coastline. So
Mm.
the research and finding the right town can take a lot of time and money. So what I do is I do non-legal move to Spain consultations where people will explain to me who they are, the lifestyle they want, the type of property they want to live in, and what their
Yeah.
dream is for their new life in Spain. At which point, based on things like their expectations, their needs, wants, and budgets, I will then suggest various areas to make things easier. Some people don't want to drive, so they'll just come over, meet me, we'll get in a car together, and we'll go and visit all of these towns, and I can give them on the ground local knowledge.
Up to four people.
Yes.
Don't be turning up with a massive queue of.
Yeah. And no heavy nights out in Benidorm
Yeah, it's a
the day
job. This is
before,
hard
please.
work. This
Uh,
is hard work.
this
John
isn't
doesn't want
tourism.
you pitching up at whatever time it is in the morning with a hangover because this is like a serious business. You're going to be spending life-changing amounts of money. And yeah, don't turn up absolutely hungover.
Exactly. And I always say it's business before pleasure. When you get to Spain, then yes, you're going to
Yeah,
be going out, you're
yeah.
going to be enjoying the place. But make no mistake about it, this isn't a holiday.
No,
You
no.
get your business done first. And then if you've got time left over, yes, you can
Yeah.
go to Benidorm for a few drinks or however you want to spend it.
And when you stop for lunch, there's a limit on the amount of wine people can have, isn't there?
Well, it's typically one glass.
Right. So for people who are looking at this and scrolling through Google, Apple Maps, where's the Costa Blanca? What sort of towns does it cover?
So some of our most popular towns, and I'll go from south to north, will be Torrevieja
Yeah,
and the Orihuela Costa. So let's say Villamartin, La Xenia.
yeah,
And then you've got Alicante City, which is
yeah.
directly on the coast. So we start going up the coast now.
Mm.
Around 10 minutes drive on the motorway from Alicante City, you've got Elche City, which is
Well,
about
we're going to tell them
15.
about how wonderful Elche is. Are we going to let the cat out the bag? Are you?
Yeah, we
Oh,
can do. Yeah, I
all
mean,
right, okay. I thought you were
it's a
keeping that
really
one a secret.
it's a really nice city, but just be aware, guys, that you have to speak good Spanish to live here because there's not a big amount of
Yeah,
English speaking immigrants
at the moment.
at the moment. So we continue, we go up through Alicante City. Then the next big one that everybody knows is going to be Benidorm.
Mm. Yeah,
And then we continue to go along the coast up towards Denia and Javia. And Altea is a notable mention
yeah,
because it's one of the most picturesque towns on the coast in Spain. It's stunning. It's
yeah,
really nice.
yeah. And just for the people thinking of the Costa del Sol, obviously you've got Malaga Airport, like you have Alicante Airport. I don't think there's anything in it between the two. Then you've got Malaga City, you've got uh, Benidorm, not Benidorm, I'm sorry, Torremolinos, Benalmádena Costa. You've got some little places. Then you've got Fuengirola, and then again you can go Mijas, and then you can go all the way to say Marbella. Geographically, I think, even though I'm down in Benalmádena Costa, I think geographically the Costa del Sol is a bit of a pain because if you go a tiny bit south from, say, Benalmádena, Mijas, Fuengirola, you just met with a massive hill or mountain, and it makes property have to be in a certain area. If you want to go inland, it's a pain to go over the mountain and things like that. But I don't think you really have that in most of the Costa Blanca. It's pretty accessible, isn't it, if you go inland a little bit?
Yeah, generally speaking, the south side of the Costa Blanca is very flat along the coast.
Yeah,
You have to do about, I'd say, half an hour to 40 minutes of driving to get into the mountains where you've got
yeah,
places like the Hondon Valley, which is like just perfect for Brits because it is great if you want an inland location. But
yeah,
as you get closer towards the north side, then you do get more mountains that are very
yeah,
close to the coast, like
yeah,
let's say around Calpe, Javier, Denia,
yeah,
etc.
yeah. And I think on if we say for the Costa del Sol, and you've been here and done some research for your viewers and listeners, but I think on the Costa del Sol, uh, Malaga, like Torremolinos, Belmarine, Costa, I think that is less expensive than obviously everyone's heard of Marbella, Puerto Banús, things like that. So we the cost sort of increases as you go west or left, as you like, on the Costa del Sol. So I think it's north and south the prices, isn't it, on the Costa Blanca?
Yeah, so from Alicante City down towards the Orihuela Costa, things get, let's say, less expensive. And if you go from Alicante up past Benidorm
Mm,
towards Javier and Calpe, then this is where it's going to be. You need to have a good amount of money, really, because it's
yeah,
not cheap. I mean, I
yeah,
did some videos on Javier during the week, and there was nothing in one estate agent's window for less than 500,000, and you can get a
right,
lot of property on the south side of the
yeah,
Costa
yeah. But that's it. I
for half
mean,
a million.
yeah, I mean, John won't say, but people who watch or listen to this, he puts in a lot of effort to get these prices and views, and he's been all over in the last couple of weeks. I've been watching you on TikTok. What is it? Is it at English John on TikTok?
English John. Let's have a look. I've got. To be honest, I hardly ever look at it. So
Yeah, you don't, do you? You just press the upload.
yeah,
He's probably got 7,000 messages now. We'll just talk
there's a
amongst
few.
ourselves, listeners. Um, yeah, John's on TikTok, and it's a good resource. TikTok, it's not just for young people. He puts lots and lots of information on TikTok. He's got a drone. You can see things from the air. It's very, very good. And he is at
It's
what?
English John Costa Blanca.
There you go, English John Costa Blanca. So he's yeah, and like I say, he does the tours, maximum 4 people from the airport and from wherever people are staying, just by negotiation.
What I like to say to people is, for logistical reasons, it's ideal to stay at either Alicante City or Elche,
Yeah,
because then we can go north or
yeah,
south. It's fairly straightforward. It's also very easy for the airport.
right.
But yeah, I can get people from the airport. Uh, I have done it where they've turned up in the morning. I've got them. We've gone out and done the day, and I've dropped them back in the evening at
Wow.
the airport to go home. But to be honest, I like for people to have at least one
Yeah.
evening in Spain.
Yeah, you've got to
Just in case
ground yourself, haven't you? Yeah.
Yeah, just in case there's any delays at the in the UK.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, make sure it's a serious thing, we joke a little bit, but obviously like I said before, you're spending life-changing amounts of
Yeah.
money. And has the mayor of Elche said anything to you yet? Are you known?
No, don't think I pop up on their algorithm too often.
They're going to find out about you one day and they're going to say, wow, this guy's responsible for repopulating Elche.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, Elche isn't one of the main places, but John lives there. I've been there. It's very good. You've got a big shopping centre, haven't you? And I didn't see the city centre or town centre until you put that video up, and it's amazing, isn't it?
Really nice. Elche is
It's
a very, very nice town. There's roughly 210,000 people living here, the majority of which will be Spaniards. Our
Yeah.
next biggest group of immigrants is going to be Moroccans, and that's generally speaking how it is for a lot of Spain.
Yeah.
And then you've got some South Americans, and apparently there's about 800 Brits somewhere. I haven't seen
Yeah,
any
but
of them.
the Brits that live in Elche are like, leave me alone. I'm just here for
I
like
don't know.
a
I've never
quiet
bumped
life.
into them in the wild. I know that much.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I think when you move to Spain and you have to take the decision, am I going to live in sort of an expat immigrant enclave? There's nothing wrong with that, and some people don't want to do that. And I think Elche is more for like mixing with the Spanish, isn't it?
100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
you've got to have a good amount of Spanish that you can use. Otherwise, you're going to feel isolated. And
Yeah.
then what you'll do is you'll just move to an urbanization where there's more Brits and you feel comfortable, or there's more
Yeah.
English spoken because we've got a lot of Dutch as well, and they all
Yeah.
speak really good English.
Yeah, absolutely. So would Elche be the starting point price wise?
No. So one of the most affordable regions of Costa Blanca is going to be Torrevieja.
Right. Okay. And Torrevieja
Okay.
is on the coast, and they've got those. I've never been, but I've seen those big lakes.
Yeah, we've got salt lakes.
That's
So
it.
there's a
So
lot of salt lakes on the Costa Blanca, especially the south side.
mm,
But I mean, look, you can easily get an apartment in Elche for 50 grand.
right. That's euros.
Yeah. The problem with it is it's going to be a fifth floor with no lift,
Right.
and there's not going to be a single Brit in sight or an American or a Canadian. So
Yeah.
for you guys that are moving to Spain, where you're still yet to learn the language,
Mm,
let's be honest, everybody's moving here for the lifestyle. You're not going to find that lifestyle in a fifth floor apartment in Elche without a lift and where you can't communicate with
yeah.
anyone. It would be
Yeah.
a mistake. So,
Yeah.
yeah, Elche's affordable, and you've got other places that are even more affordable inland. But if we're talking the main areas that people would consider for their home,
Yeah.
then let's say we start off with Torrevieja as a really affordable
So
place.
that's coastal further, a little bit further north, isn't it?
So it's south.
Oh, sorry.
It, yeah, so it's south about 45 minutes from Alicante Airport.
Right. So it's south of, yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
Torrevieja is south of the of Alicante Airport, 45 minutes. And how much are they looking at there? Remember, we're recording this on the in October 2025.
Well, I had a look the other day for the cheapest two-bed apartment that I could find, and it was about 90,000 euros.
Right. So it's still possible under 100,000. You can live
Yeah.
near-ish the beach. Um,
Yeah.
and I'm assuming in Torrevieja you can just find everything.
Oh, it's massive. It's a huge town.
Yeah. So you can go
It's
Indian one night, Mexican the next night, English bar the
yeah,
night after. Yeah. There's
yeah,
it's
you've got a nice promenade. So look, the benefits are that it's directly on the Mediterranean,
right.
and it's a huge town. So it's got a lot of infrastructure. There's buses, there's public transport, nice beaches, lovely promenade.
Mm.
But regardless what anybody says, there are a lot of Spanish people in Torrevieja. So it's popular with Spaniards.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Brits. There's
Yeah.
also a big Russian community as well. So generally speaking, there's a little bit of everything down there.
Right. Right. So that's Torrevieja. And then let's do it price wise then. So going up from Torrevieja, what would be the next one?
La Mata,
La Mata.
yeah, which is technically still part of Torrevieja. And again, if you're if you're really doing your research and you're not jumping in at the first property that you see, which I recommend people do not do,
Don't do it,
because
people.
everybody does this.
Don't
All
do
right.
it. Don't do it.
Like you can find something for 125, 130, but we're talking apartments here, guys.
Yeah,
If
this
you
is a
want a
two
house,
bedroom, is it?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, if you want a house, it's going to be a little bit more expensive. But generally speaking, you can get apartments circa 100 to 120 in La Mata, which is a great place to be.
Right, right. I mean, I don't know about the American prices. I know Sean, the intern, was talking about prices in Toronto, but for English people, that's a bargain, And it's not a
Total
bad
bargain.
area. If you're buying for 100,000, 20,000, it's not like you're going to go out at night and be looking over your shoulder or anything, is it?
I'd still choose Torrevieja over Chelsea in London for sure. I mean, you've got way
John's
less.
from the south of England. If people were listening, watching this, and I'm from the north, but we both know what Chelsea is.
Yeah, so Chelsea's like the really expensive part of London, but
Mm,
if you've got a nice piece of jewelry, you might get
yeah,
stabbed for it. Whereas, generally speaking, there isn't knife crime in Spain anywhere near the level that there is in the
no,
UK.
yeah.
You know,
I mean
it's
that's it, isn't it? It's a lot safer, isn't it? The police in
much
Spain, in my opinion, this isn't the opinion of the law firm. The police in Spain don't take any nonsense,
none, none,
not at
and they're
all.
healthy as well. So you're not gonna. Let's say there is a criminal on the street, they're probably not going to be able to outrun the police because these boys and these girls are in shape.
Yeah, it's a different world, isn't it? It's a
Yeah.
different world. Yeah, yeah, it's a different world. So so La Mata is part of Torrevieja. And I suppose if we look on the Costa del Sol, I suppose the cheapest place would be Torremolinos on the coast. And you are looking at, I think, 100,000 plus for a studio. So I think price wise, before anybody, there might be an exception, but price wise, the Costa del Sol is a lot more expensive. There's no
It's
arguments.
so expensive because obviously I
Yeah.
was checking out estate agents' windows while I was down there,
Mm.
and I was just looking at the prices like this is unbelievable. It's so expensive in comparison to Costa Blanca.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we can't sugarcoat it, people. The airport, geographically, I think the Costa del Sol is a bit of a pain because if you want to live inland, it's harder to get to the coast. Malaga Airport, I think, is as good as Alicante Airport. I mean, it all depends on where you live and which airport's near you in
Mm.
America, Canada, England, all that kind of thing. The other thing on the Costa del Sol is we do have a train from um, the airport that runs along Torremolinos along the coast, but it stops at Fuengirola. So at Fuengirola, if you could get the bus all the way, but at Fuengirola you'd have to change and get the bus to Marbella or an Uber taxi, whatever. But I do know there's a tram system, isn't there, from Alicante going north, isn't there?
Yeah, we've got a really good tram line going from Alicante up to Denia.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
where would
it's a
you
solid.
so where would you say is an up and coming area where you said if someone said to you, look, here's some money, you must spend it on property on this place, on the Costa Blanca, in this place, where would that be?
For me, I would say that. I mean, I've got my personal favorites, of course, but Ciudad Quesada is a really good area, which is in the town of Rojales.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that's, let's
Yeah.
say, a 12-minute drive from Guardamar del Segura, which is the nicest town on the south side of the Costa Blanca.
Right. So you heard it here first.
Yeah, that's the sweet spot. So you're within half an hour to the airport.
Yeah.
A lot of people on the Move to Spain group are going to know of Guardamar because it is really nice.
Hmm.
There's a lot of Spanish there. You'll find Brits on the beach, but in the town itself, it's going to be tapas and traditional
Right.
Spanish
Yeah.
way of life.
Yeah.
And then obviously it's apartments. So we
Hmm.
need to remember that the coastal towns are very apartment heavy living. So
Yeah.
generally speaking, expats will want urbanization. So you need to go 6 minutes outside of the town. And then
Right.
you'll find somewhere like El Raso, which is a really nice urbanization to live on. And then you go a little bit further along, maybe 3 minutes, and you come into Rojales.
Yeah. And
So
urbanization is like a condo on a homeowners association, I think, for our American cousins. I think something like that, isn't it? Where you have
yeah,
like a central, I don't want to say committee, but it's like a homeowners association who take decisions and you pay for the upkeep communally of the various things.
yes.
Yeah,
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 so in England, we would call them new build housing developments. Now, some of them are 25, 30 years old. Some of them are just going up still.
yeah, yeah, that's it. And I think it's right. Again, there are exceptions, but I think on the Costa del Sol, if you go from Malaga to Marbella, it's pretty much built. There isn't a scrap of land. They're knocking down
Yeah.
old villas to build a block of apartments. So it's nothing like that. But what I wanted to ask you is if somebody's driving the length of the Costa Blanca, is the places where, it's quiet, there's just some dunes and a beach, or is it just wall to wall?
there's a lot of dunes. Yeah, so you've got the dunes of Elche,
Hmm. All
which
right.
includes La Marina, and
Right.
then you got Guardamar del Segura. So
Right.
that is essentially unspoilt coastline. It's beautiful. I mean, I've done quite a lot of drone footage on it,
Right. I
but
think I might have seen that.
apart from the odd Chiringuito, if you
Now,
go there,
Chiringuito is a bar on the beach.
yeah,
And it used to be that they just put the chairs on the sand. They've got a bit posh on the Costa del Sol, but if you go east of Malaga, which isn't the Costa del Sol, not relevant for today, they put the chairs actually on the sand. I don't know if that's what it's like over there.
yeah, it's kind of like that. We've got the odd bit of decking, I mean, but
Yeah,
it's not as
you don't have to rough
grandiose
it.
as the Costa del Sol. So yeah, we've got the Chiringuitos, and I mean the nicest beach on the Costa Blanca is Playa Carabasi, which is in Los Arenales del Sol. That's completely unspoiled. It's
Wow,
just
it's amazing.
it's really nice. And that
Yeah.
town, Arenales, is 7 minutes drive from the airport.
Right, that's it. I mean, that's another thing you've got to think about because if you haven't got a car, you're just relying on an Uber or a taxi or you time pressures. Everyone's only got so much holiday if it's a holiday home. Then yeah, obviously getting to the airport is a big consideration. Yeah,
100%, because
yeah,
I regularly have video calls with people and they say, I want to be within half an hour of the airport, but I've heard that Villa Martin's the best place to live on the south side. I'm like, that's way further than half an hour from the airport.
yeah.
So,
You're going to get a big Uber bill.
yeah. And you're going to be doing toll roads or you're going to be doing the N332. It's going to take you an hour each way, minimum.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so that's another factor to think of. Where's the most expensive place? Where's the Marbella of Costa Blanca?
Well, depending on the property that you get and the area, you've got, let's say, there's three places. Alicante City, you can pay a lot of money for a property there because it's
Yeah,
the main one. Then you've got Calpe, which is incredibly expensive, and Javier,
Javier. Javier begins with a J, so it's Javia.
Javea.
Yeah, Javier is Javier, but
Yeah,
Javier. Yeah, that's yeah. I've heard that's very expensive, isn't it?
super expensive.
Yeah.
And it's
So
nice. It's a solid hour almost from the airport.
yeah.
It's a solid hour, yeah. And there's a couple of sides to Javier. So you've got the harbour, which is like the old town, which is very nice,
Mm,
but it's got a pebble beach. As I mention this because a lot of the time people want to come to Spain and they imagine sandy beaches, but some of these places have got pebble
yeah,
beaches.
yeah.
So the harbour side of Javier's got the pebble beach, but then you've got the Arenal. But if you're a beach person, I would say that really anywhere from Benidorm down's better than Benidorm up, in my opinion, on
Right.
Costa Blanca.
So what do we say about Benidorm then? We're always very neutral on the Move to Spain podcast, and I think it's you either love it or you think, "Good God, I'm not going there."
Well, I'm glad that you asked that because there are a lot of Spanish people in Benidorm.
Yeah,
This
true.
is rarely mentioned. So we've got a lot of Spaniards that use Benidorm for their day-to-day living, for their holidays. You've got the Poniente side and you've got the Levante side. The Levante side is where you're going to find people are going there drinking €1 pints.
There you
Of
go.
which,
You heard it on the Move to Spain podcast. If you want to destroy yourself, that's the place to go.
so you can still pick up a pint of beer for €1
Yeah.
on the
I think John
Levante
and I are
side.
probably past that. Well, 364 days of the year, we passed that, I think.
I don't get involved in that at all.
I
Um,
haven't done it.
but then you've obviously got the Poniente side, which is very quiet. The beaches are immaculate.
Yeah.
The beaches here that we have on Costa Blanca are far nicer than the Costa del Sol. I'll
Yeah.
definitely go on
Yeah.
record and say
I
that.
mean, because tourism sort of started in Benidorm, didn't it? There was a mayor that famously got on his scooter and went to see. Imagine going on a scooter from Benidorm to Madrid in the 50s or the 60s, and it was to get permission for sunbathing or bikinis or something from Franco, and it all started in Benidorm. And the reason was the beaches are the best in Spain. That was the
The
reason.
beaches, the beaches are incredible. They really are. So yeah, look, Benidorm is great. Brits and anybody that speaks English can quite easily go there and have minimal adjustment period.
Well,
But
that's
I
a
do want to
factor, isn't it?
explain.
Yeah,
I
it's a
want to
factor.
explain one thing. It's not cheap to live in Benidorm. If
No,
you go to
no.
the urbanizations on the outside of the town, it's very expensive.
Yeah,
So for
true.
people who are on more of a conservative budget, I always suggest to them that you really want to concentrate on places like La Marina and go down towards the Orihuela Costa, because you can be paying a lot of money to live on these exclusive
Yeah, yeah,
urbanizations in Benidorm for
yeah.
sure.
Benidorm property prices are expensive in relation to going out for a pound, a euro a pint.
Yeah,
86 pence. Sorry for the Americans. You'll have to do your own
yeah,
calculation.
for
But you,
sure.
but a bit of a top tip, it's not for amateurs. You have to be very, just don't, we're not giving travel advice on people going drinking €1 pints in Benidorm. It'll be an experience.
Yeah. And a lot of people are shocked by it for sure. But so if with regards to like Costa Blanca versus Costa del Sol, we definitely have lower prices of properties here on Costa Blanca in almost all areas.
Yeah, I think, yeah, there's no argument. There's no
There's
argument.
no argument.
The
We've
beaches are
got just
better. I
the
think the
beaches are
geography's
better.
better on the Costa Blanca. The airport, well, they're both massive airports with loads of flights, but it all depends on where you're coming from. I mean, UK people, yeah, it's a bit of a factor, but if you're coming from America, then it doesn't really matter because it's not like you're going to be flying back every weekend.
True. And so, but I will say that the food is much better for me at least on the Costa del Sol. And so we were
Yeah.
there obviously over the last weekend, and my wife and I went out for Chinese. And I've
Mm.
always said that you'll get the worst Chinese food that you've ever had in Spain without any shadow of a doubt. But we went to this lovely restaurant in La Cala de Mijas,
All right.
and
That's a little
I
bit
said,
west of Fuengirola. Yeah, where the office is.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I said to my wife, like, judging by the amount of Brits that are in here, I've got very high expectations for the food. And it was the best Chinese I've had in the
Yeah.
7 years that I've been here,
Yeah.
without any shadow of a doubt. Nothing on Costa Blanca came close to it.
We have to,
The
we do have to say that Mijas is more for people who live there, and this is what it's all about on the Move Sim podcast. But it's more for people who've got holiday homes there, live there permanently, as opposed to people who are just going on holiday.
the other thing that I noticed is, and this is strange because I actually asked ChatGTP, is there more Brits and expats in Costa Blanca or Costa del Sol? And
Ah,
it told me that there was more on the Costa Blanca. But when I went to Costa del Sol, I was I was really in shock as to how many expats
all
I
right.
saw.
Yeah.
I felt like when I went out on Saturday night in the Cala de Mijas, I could have been in Essex, for example.
Yeah.
It was There was thousands of Brits, and
Yeah.
every restaurant, every bar. The
Yeah.
only Spanish people I saw were taxi drivers,
Well, that's
and
it.
maybe
Yeah.
one or two other people, but it was
Yeah.
definitely busier. It felt busier. The roads feel busier down there as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
But I prefer the architecture on the Costa del Sol. I think that the towns are prettier in general to look
Right.
at.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that could be it. I mean, I went round Alicante City and I found it going out, drinking coffee, having lunch, things like that. I thought it was a little bit cheaper than Malaga. I was quite surprised I could sit with a view of the port and have a coffee for like this was last year for like €1.40 or something. I was
Yeah.
quite surprised, really. But yeah, yeah. So what we're going to say then? I think we have to give it to the Costa Blanca. I'm reluctant to do it, John, but and we're not doing this for purposes of John's business, but in justlawsolicitors.com we cover the whole of Spain. But I think we have to give it to the Costa Blanca, don't we?
So I would say this: you're going to probably, as long as you find the right location, you can be very happy on both Costas.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I think that's a good, yeah,
the
good way of looking at it. Yeah, yeah,
the deciding factor, guys, is going to be how much do you want to pay for your home? Because if you've got the money and you're comfortable to spend Costa Blanca, Costa del Sol prices, great. Go there. You're going to be very, very happy.
Yeah, yeah, nothing
If
wrong with
you're
it.
on more of a conservative budget, and I speak to people that have got net worth of 300,000 all the way up to several million, then
Mm.
I would say that you can divide Costa Blanca into two sections, south and north. Use your budget accordingly. But the main thing is don't jump headfirst into it.
Mm.
Make sure that you seek the correct legal advice from
Yeah,
John and the team. Otherwise, you're
absolutely.
going to get burned. And I
Yeah.
see it all the time. People say to me, John, I really don't want to pay for advice. And I'm like, well, I'll give you some free advice then. Don't buy anything or commit to anything in Spain. And it even goes to letting properties
Oh yeah,
because
that's the Wild West, isn't it?
the
Yeah.
biggest scam that we've got here is called the vanishing deposit. It's known as the vanishing deposit. You give
Yeah.
somebody some money, it's going to be 3 months rent, it's going to be about five to
They're
seven
gone.
k,
They're
and
gone.
it's gone.
Gone. It's gone. Yeah. We have a rental review service and we haven't really been doing it that long. And yeah, we go through all the contracts. We make sure the property actually exists in the world.
Exactly.
We make sure that the owner is actually the owner. They haven't just rented it on Airbnb and spent the week taking deposits. The agent is an agent. The agent is registered. We sometimes we just have to redraft the whole contract. But yeah, just be really, really careful with rentals anywhere in Spain. There's so many scams. Yeah.
Because I've seen it. You can imagine. I go out on tours with people, and I always say you have to be very careful. So we
Mm,
go out, and somebody says to me once or twice, "I don't really do this because it's just not something that I do." But if we're touring an area and there's a property that they're seeing later in the afternoon, sometimes the agent will ring them and say, "Look, I'm there now. Can you get there?" At which point, my curiosity takes over. I'll drive them to the property to have a look. And I've
yeah.
seen people say this house is perfect and they've not even stepped foot in it. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
That's the
then
problem, isn't it?
what they're
Yeah.
doing is they're doing somersaults and backflips in the living room, trying to convince the agent, please take my money. And I'm like, guys, we don't even know that this is an agent, or we don't know that this
Yeah.
is
We
just
don't even
somebody.
know. Yeah.
We don't know anything about it, and you're trying to give them loads of money.
Yeah.
So you essentially adults that are moving to Spain, I know what goes on. We say to
Adults.
ourselves, the only thing that I need to make this dream a reality is to say yes right now. The agents know that. They know that because I know that.
Mm,
So we do everything we possibly can to convince the agent to just give us the property right now. We're signing agreements in Spanish
yeah.
that we don't understand. And all of a sudden you realize, hold on a second, they're ripping me off for an agency fee, which is illegal. So imagine that you're willingly and knowingly entering an agreement with somebody who's ripping you off before you actually sign the tenancy agreement. The tenancy agreement's in Spanish, but yet you don't read and write Spanish. So
Yeah.
what do you think?
Crazy.
There's not going to be anything in there as well. You're going to be losing thousands of euros.
This is
That's
it.
why we've incorporated your rent review service into our relocation package,
Oh, thank
because
you.
ultimately when anybody says to me, I want to book a non-legal consultation with you, John, to discuss moving to Spain and specifically Costa Blanca, if they've given me any money whatsoever, I need to be able to show that I have explained to them the risks of
Yeah.
moving to Spain,
Yeah.
because I don't want them losing their money and then they say, oh, yeah, I was a customer of English John.
Yeah.
And by the way, I've still got ripped off. So people message me all the time, and I'm like, I'm going to send everything to you in writing so that I
Yeah.
can say, I've tried to tell you not to do this, and you've gone out and done it. So if you lose your money, it's not on me.
Yeah. That's it. And obviously, if there's one thing you can take from this whole video is don't sign up for anything until you've spoken to a Spanish lawyer with a registration number at the bar. That's if
Yeah,
there's one thing you can take from that. And don't use the lawyer that the estate agent physically takes you to. That happened to one client.
yeah, because I had a gentleman that was asking me about help with regards to a couple of services. So
Mm.
I'm basically investigating why. Like, what can I do for you? And he tells me, I'm buying a property in Spain. I said, have you found it? He's like, no. I said, do you know how to buy safely in Spain? Because you need to avoid illegally built construction, stuff that's got debt on it,
Yeah.
issues on title. I said, there's quite a lot that can go on. And he's like, we've got friends here. And I was like, I never ever want to hear that. I
No,
never
that's the
want to hear
problem.
that you've got friends, because that means that you're not
Yeah.
taking advice whatsoever.
Yeah.
And then I said, okay, that doesn't sound good to me. He said, I'm taking my advice off of the estate agent. And I was like,
Oh,
oh,
that's so the estate agent
oh,
people, it's in their interest to sell the property. You know,
yeah,
they're not giving you advice. Anyway, John, we could go on and on and on, but like John said, you know, have a non-legal consultation with him, find out what's good for you. And then if you do want to buy the property, don't give anybody any money or sign anything until you're looking at your own advice with your documents in English. Anyway,
exactly.
well, thanks for giving your time up, John, and hopefully people can see us in the flesh. And yeah, John can pick you up at the airport or the or your apartment, but you have to wear a blue t-shirt and some aviators if you go on one of his tours.
That's true. I supply them.
He's not even wearing the uniform today. I'm shocked.
It's the sunshine. Everybody says you're always wearing shades. I'm like, it's because it's always sunny here, guys. If you had blue eyes as well, it would hurt you.
I thought it was a clever marketing thing. Anyway,
No, it's because I'll be like the mole on television all the time otherwise.
anyway, so yeah, book a tour, people. Make it happen in Spain, you know, because property prices are going up. Do it now, but after taking
Do it.
advice. All right.
Do it
Thanks, John.
safely. All
Thanks.
right. Good to see
Cheers.
you. Goodbye.
Bye.